Alright. Roll call, Michelle.
David Walkenstick.
Honey.
Brian Warner. Mind your own business. Bill England.
Honey.
Keith Austin.
Here.
Hartley Buzzard. Joe Berg.
Honey.
Sean Crittenden.
Here.
That's Mike Collins.
Here. Sound like Don Crittenden.
Brandon Vargas.
Present.
Wanda
Sounded like me.
Hatfield.
I'm proud of her.
Rex Jordan.
Here.
Dave Black.
Honey.
Mike Shambaugh. Mary Bakershaw. Ani. Jeff Smith.
Here.
Denise Taylor. Here. Victoria Weston. We have a quorum.
Thanks, Shelley. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of July 9th, 2018? So moved.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Down to reports. We got Miss Diane Kelly. Yeah.
Obviously, Miss Kelly's not here, so this will be brief. Oh, God, don't call me that. I used to like you, Stick. Thank that. Miss Kelly's detained in a meeting in Muskogee. She had every intent of being here, and I got this phone call just a few minutes ago. Just a couple of things I'd like to touch on. I know she's been talking a little bit about Job Corps. DOL has some new mandates that they've handed down, so we're still working with those, making improvements. They've made some staff qualification changes. We're working on our onboard strength, which is the number of students on center. So we're making positive progress on that, and that's moving ahead. I'd also, by now, hopefully you all have received your invitation to our GED graduation ceremony. Those went out last week. If not, you should be getting those sometime this week. The event is going to be Thursday, September the 20th at 6:30 at the UC Ballroom at NSU. We are, as of last week, we have 86 graduates, and we're planning to break 100 again this year. So we would love to have you. Brian Warner is going to be our guest speaker, so he always has wonderful words of wisdom. So I'm sure you would love to come and hear him as well. It's a great ceremony. If you've never been, they do the full caps and gowns, and we're very, very proud of this hardworking group. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to take those back with me.
Any questions? Saying none, great report.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Executive Director's Report, Mr. Ron Etheridge.
Good afternoon. I need to make a couple of introductions, and I have a brief report, and then I'll entertain any questions that might be asked. We just, after 4.5 years of an interim manager's position at College Resources, Jennifer has stepped aside, and believe me, she wasn't asked to. She did an outstanding job in both capacities, but since she stepped aside, we've hired Chrissy Marsh. And Chrissy, if you would, stand. I told Chrissy that I wouldn't turn her over to y'all until a little bit later. We're trying to wrap things up as far as our deadlines are concerned, and but if you have questions for Chrissy, there's no time like now. I mean,
Does anybody have any questions for Miss Chris?
We'll get her next time.
okay. There you go.
She's pretty tough.
Chrissy she's served in all capacities in College Resources. She was currently serving as an advisor and still is maintaining that role, even though she's the manager in there right now, because we're working 2 people short. And so she's also been an outreach specialist. She's going out into our schools. She's the one that's been responsible in their respective areas, visiting our schools and making sure that they understand our policy and procedures and so forth. And so she has a very complete understanding of what should go on in there. And so this will also allow Jennifer time to actually do her first job, and which, like I said, Jennifer did a good job in both cases, but this will allow her to be hands-on with what she's doing with handling finances in the budgets in all respective areas. So we think this is going to be a good thing. And together they have interviewed, and we're getting ready to select Chrissy's replacement. And then we lost another advisor and getting ready to select that replacement as well. So they're kind of working shorthanded over there right now, but it's we'll be back at full force very soon. I was asked by our education chair, Mr. Walkenstick, to have someone report on our Language Ignite workshop, and so at this time I'd like to ask Roy Boney, our manager of language, and Wade Blevins, our language technology specialist, to come up here and give a report and maybe answer. You've got questions for them. They'll be able to answer your questions. Come on up, guys.
Thanks, Ron.
Sit right there.
Osiona, guys.
See you, Ron.
Well, as Ron mentioned, we had our Ignite conference. It's the second time we've done this. It's a language teacher training conference in which we invite teachers to come out and learn how to teach language. So I brought Wade here. That was actually Wade's idea to do this conference. And if you don't know, Wade's a really great teacher. He's well versed in teaching methodologies and things. So he had his great contacts with these people that we brought in from across the country. So I'll let him take over.
Osiona God. Close to one is like a sen of canal kisko. We burn the tower like oh to cake. Chalaki I actually education department my name is Wade. I'm originally from the J community just north of J, and I work for the education department. And I've been very passionate about our language. I don't speak our language very well, but I'm a learner. You know, I'm trying to learn, and really, this conference came out of my own frustrations as a learner. For those of you who aren't first language speakers and you've tried to take a class, it's very frustrating, you know, because you want to be able to talk, right? You want to be able to talk to people, and a lot of times we're not successful in that. And so, as my own frustration as somebody who grew up around the language, my grandpa was a speaker, my aunts were speakers, but I couldn't learn, you know. And so I was looking for a better mousetrap, and working with the State Department of Education World Languages Department, also working with Johnson O'Malley, Mark Vance's group, CLAMAP, the Master Apprentice Program. We tried to identify all the stakeholders who would be interested in this type of training. And really all it is we're looking for a philosophy of teaching that is easy for non-certified teachers to pick up. It's something that doesn't require a lot of jargon. It doesn't require a lot of things that don't really work towards our acquisition of proficiency and fluency, which is what we want. We want to create speakers. And I feel like, we've been working on language, since the 1970s, trying to preserve and to revitalize our language. And I feel like we're raising ourselves up on the shoulders of these great people who went before us, but I also feel like we're at a point now in our tribe where we can no longer be happy just to say everything is fine. We're losing speakers every week. Every week our first language speakers are passing on. And until we can say that we're creating speakers at the same rate or at a better rate than we're losing them, we can't say we're successful at our jobs, and that's just the honest truth, is how I look at it, If we continue at the same rate, within 20 years, most of our speakers will probably be gone. Or incapacitated to the point that they can't teach. And so we have to find a better way of doing what we do. And so this philosophy, I became aware of this philosophy of teaching about 10 years ago. I became trained in it. I've tried it out with Cherokee language classes. I've taught community classes, I've taught high school classes, I've taught elementary classes, and I find it to be very, very effective. I feel like this is a really good pathway, and so I wanted to give this process to other educators and paraprofessionals, people that work with language. And so we brought in some of the best people from around the United States, from Canada, Alaska, California, Georgia, DC. We brought all these great master teachers in this philosophy. We brought them in and picked their brain and stole all the best of what they had to offer, you know, and brainstormed on how we can use this for helping save our language. These people are Yonag for the most part, but they are also very passionate. They feel like it has now given them a purpose. You know, most of them, we have teachers of Spanish, French, Latin, Scottish Gaelic. We had a teacher of Japanese, which has a similar writing system to ours, which is why we brought her in. We also brought a Mandarin teacher, as most of you know, that deal with language. Our language is considered and will be one of the most difficult languages for speakers of English to pick up. Mandarin is also considered at that same level, so we brought a Mandarin teacher in to show them that if it can be done with their languages, maybe it can be done with ours. We had about 52 people attend. It was very, very positive, I feel like. They were very energized and they're very excited. Since then, they've contacted me. They want to create a working group that is continuing every month to meet and work on these skills. And so I feel like we're maybe on the cusp of taking our next great jump forward in helping save and preserve our language.
Thank you, Wade. I had the opportunity to meet these immersion teachers that Wade was talking about, and they was all over from the United States, and they specialize in these languages, and all different languages, but they were bringing their best practices to the Cherokee Nation, and they do it for free. They volunteer their summers, and we finally started giving them a stipend here recently to come, but they said they're going to come back next summer and the summer after that because they're passionate that the Cherokee Nation that doesn't lose their language. How many languages get lost every year?
Worldwide,
There
are probably at least 5 to 10 languages that become extinct yearly. You know, so we're not in a unique situation, and that's one of the reasons we brought in Scottish Gaelic, because they're in danger of losing their language as well. They probably have about the same number of first language speakers left of Scottish Gaelic that we have of Cherokee. So.
Yes, Speaker Burke.
A couple of years ago at the Tri-Council, we passed a resolution to grab some data and information do a census on how many speakers we actually had left. Eastern Band, UKB, Cherokee Nation. And I've talked to Roy and talked to the immersion and the consortium group about starting that process. So when you guys get some ideas, let me know. We need to move forward with that because I found the funds in the budget to do that. And I thought, because of Sequoia's home being in Sequoia's cabin, there's Sequoia's cabin being in Sequoia's county, that might be a good place to start. Maybe we could have our first meeting there at maybe Marble City, maybe a Nycut, Bellefonte, and just come forward. And I'm going to guess we have around, I'd say maybe close to 3,500 to 5,000 left. But I attended a language conference with 5 other tribes 2 weeks ago, and out of 5 tribes, they had 100 speakers left. So we are okay, but we have to have some numbers and data to increase what we have. But right now we don't know how many we had. We're just guessing. So this language gathering I'm talking about, I don't know the exact number yet. Dwayne King helped me plan some of this. Of course, we lost him about a year ago. But I think we have the resources and the staff to move this forward and get a rough draft of this number that I'm talking about. And I appreciate you guys' input when that time comes. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Speaker. Ron, did any of our immersion staff attend this Ignite conference? Do you guys know?
We did have 4 come from the immersion school. We had, I believe, 1 certified instructor, 2 paras, and then the bus driver, Leo, also attended as well.
Really? So, what's the cost to attend this conference, this Ignite conference?
The cost for the entire 4 days is $400, right around $400, and that includes their meals, as well as we also give them a workbook of all the things that are included in the conference. They get a working book so that they can, as a teacher myself, that's what I like, something that I can go back and take into the classroom and open it to page whatever and just start using it right away. And so that's what the costs are.
Ron, is there a way for our immersion staff to have 100% attendance, maybe make it up as a professional development day for these folks to attend this? And if there's some budgets that need to be amended, maybe we allocate some of those funds for these immersion teachers to attend this?
Oh, yes, it can be worked out.
Okay, does that come out, Mark, did that come out of your account, the JOM, to stipend?
I don't think so. It's we share between the language program and the
Okay.
Cherokee Master Apprentice program, and we've gotten some sponsorship from CNB to do this too.
Okay. Do you guys need extra, we're doing budget hearings next week. Do you guys need extra funds for maybe some vacancies or some scholarships?
Yeah, that'd be great if we could get some, especially scholarship money. A lot of people wanted to come to it, and we did it last year. It was totally free last year because it was a pilot, but the idea was to make it self-sustaining. So this year we did charge a registration fee, and we had a couple of people that didn't come because of that. But we did try to pay for as much as we could. We had some of our community teachers that we contract with for our community classes. We paid for them to attend this too. But some of the public school teachers wanted to come, and some couldn't come to it.
So with our tag monies, I know some of it we give towards professional development for our teachers. Is there a way we could appropriate some of those dollars towards scholarships to this Ignite conference? Or is there a way that we could provide scholarships for teachers within the 14 county? That Grandview, I know Grandview's, they have a somewhat of an immersion program. I know they got the Cherokee Youth Choir over there and so forth, but is there a way that we could get some type of scholarships for teachers that may want to go to this conference, or pay for half of it or something? Or
Yeah, you addressing me then?
Yes,
I'm
yes.
sure that could be worked out. We just have to sit down and talk about it and find a way to get it done. Include Jennifer, because she handles our budget, and all parties involved, and immersion, language, and JOM is part of it, but they're not that part of it. So,
well, let's visit offline after this meeting and maybe try to get some numbers put together, and we can propose it to the rest of the council and see what their thoughts are on it. Okay. Roy, did you come up with a book as well that you guys?
Yeah, we have a textbook that we use for our community classes. And we start those classes coming pretty soon in the fall, actually.
Was that the one that you authored? There's a book that you authored, or you helped develop? Design.
Oh, are you talking about the history book?
It is here recently. I seen you there at the Intertribal at River Spirit, and you had a hard.
Yeah, that was the Cherokee Nation history book.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's by Dr. Martin.
and I'll address that here just.
Okay. All right. All right, Ron. Do you guys have any questions? Yes, Sean, Councilman Crittenden.
Well, as always, I appreciate what you guys do. Can't say enough about the language. Something was presented to me I don't know much about, and the big players are here. Mr. Etheridge, and you guys taking care of our language, of course, the panel here. Native American Youth Grant, and I'm just wanting to see we can wrap our heads around here and maybe show support for what these people are trying to do. School there in Adair County, they offer a Cherokee language class in high school, teaching Cherokee through that grant, I think. The concern brought to me by a counselor was the kid, and I think it's pretty much statewide, the sub score. You have to have a 19 on your ACT for it to count in college. Does that sound familiar, Brian?
As far as being able to, eligibility for concurrent enrollment? is that what you're
Right,
talking about?
right, and I think that's the hurdle. But talking about language and what we're talking about, there's some kids down here, you know, that may excite them, you know, to take that Cherokee language class and know that it's going to be counted, you know, in college, and you know, it might boost them, you know, some of them to go ahead with college. We got plenty of them that go, but we're talking language here, and I don't know how big a fight that would be, but a few people have contacted me about wanting to say, hey, we've got high Cherokee population, you know, 14 counties, trying to make our language sustainable. And is that something we can visit about sometime, about maybe knocking the 19 down? I think that's what he was getting at, just to kind of encourage some of these folks that's going to be taking this class, which we want them to.
Yeah, we'd be happy to talk about that and what we can do. I think we need to find a certified teacher. I think it's probably part of the challenge for that. But yeah, we can talk more about that.
Right, and just I think it's going to be a fight with the, you know, it's pretty much statewide 19 to do the concurrent. But just want to kind of introduce you to that. Like I said, he presented it to me. I'd like to visit with you guys later to maybe at least show support if they get to that level of fighting to help those students.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good questions, Councilman. Any other questions for Roy and Wade? Hey, appreciate your passion for the language and keeping it alive. And if we can do anything, you let us know. Okay? All right, thank you guys. All right, see you guys.
Okay, the new concurrent policy that you all adopted last spring, reducing the number of hours to 6, but taking care of fees and books. The fact that it went out, you know, just a little bit late. You know, we had a June 15 deadline, just like we did for the college scholarships. And we found we had some people. We currently have around 300 enrolled, and last year we ended with 422. So I feel like that we kind of dropped the ball just a bit. Cherokee Nation, not council, but the fact that it happened late and we didn't get the word out there like possibly we should have. You know, that the policy had changed just a bit. We didn't change the deadline. Deadline is the same as it's been. So anyway, the word is out now. We have extended till Friday. So your Facebook, help us with this like you did with the college enrollment, because we got very few phone calls this year in college enrollment. I mean, you got the word out there. And so we just asked that you would do the same with this. We have extended the period until Friday.
Is it midnight or 5? Is it midnight?
What'd you say, David?
Oh, is it 5 o'clock, Jennifer?
No, I don't even know.
5.
It's
5
o'clock.
5 o'clock? Okay. It is 5 o'clock, because that's when the computers shut down and everything. That's when we walk out of here. And so anyway, that's the deadline. They've got time now. And so, and everyone should be back in school, almost everyone. And if they want, you know, it's a matter that should have been taken care of, to be honest with you, in the spring, you know, by the schools. They should have known then, right then. So I feel like we're going over and beyond by extending it through Friday at 5 o'clock. So anyway, if you would help us on that, get the word out. All superintendents know in the 14 county area and contiguous county areas that partake in the MVT, they're aware of it. The counselors, we've got word out to them. So they ought to take care of it, is what it amounts to. So just letting you know that. Now, just a brief report on where we've started. I say where we started because I wasn't a part of it, but this administration was a part of it, and where it is at present date. In 2012, undergraduate and graduate scholarships, there was right at 2,500, 2,447 to be exact, scholarships granted at that point in time. Granted, not asked for. Okay. The end of 2017, the numbers were 4,325, which is an increase of 1,878 scholarships. That's undergraduate and graduate scholarships. And you guys were a big part of that. Some of you on your second time around. I mean, you were very much a big part of that. The concurrent enrollment. 2012, it went from 108 to what is current 417. 417, over 300 plus increase on concurrent enrollment. And the total numbers have increased over 2,200. Over 2,200. Now, just to let you know kind of just a little bit, and these are hard to find. And I know hardly you like these kind of statistics, and they're very difficult to get. But I'm gonna give you one that we do know. Okay, I mean to a degree. We had the concurrent enrollees in 2012. Okay, there were 109. There were 26. There are 26 that have graduated of that 109. Okay, there are 28 that's still currently enrolled. Now, keep in mind, that's not that long a period of time. Sometimes it takes 5 to 6 years now to get through, of college. Took my boy 6, so sometimes it takes a little while. 23 are still doing coursework. Okay, so that leaves 32 that either not using Cherokee money, they may not be using it now. They maybe went to armed forces. They maybe decided to go to work. They maybe decided college wasn't their cup of tea. So anyway, those kind of things. That's just to let you know. That's kind of what your dollars are doing out there. So in most cases, it's definitely benefiting, and we're thanking you for it. So just to let you know. Any questions regarding this?
Hey, Ron, how many of the concurrent enrollment students are going to college? I mean, once they graduate high school.
Okay, like I said, I can give you what we've got for that group that started 2012. Okay, and I would have to go back and ask for help from these ladies back here regarding that and once again, it's very difficult to find some of these numbers at times but there's 26 that have graduated, 28 that are currently still enrolled, okay, and 23 that's doing coursework, but we don't know. We've got record of them doing coursework, and then there are 32 that maybe they've branched off to something else.
So those are pretty good statistics then.
Yeah,
right. So the concurrent, we're producing college-bound students.
Right. That's
what's the dropout rate as far as with our Cherokee undergrad scholarship?
My people's still back here. Write that down. We'll try to find you.
Going back how many
Answer
years?
next time.
About 5 years?
Yeah, probably 5 years.
Okay. We'll see what we can.
That gives us a good idea there.
Okay, what data we can come up with. Just want to share two other things with you, and then basically I'm going to refer you to our reports. The other two things I want to share is, I'll just pass this around here. Brian just brought this to me just before I came in here, and this is our archery out back, okay? And these are targets out back here that look like, and you see these pictures, and you're going to see people, different people with their bows out there using this facility. Right now, we have two others that the Oklahoma Wildlife is looking at. One's at Salsaw, and one is in Veneta, looking at putting these archery sites there as well, and funding a grant for us out of somewhere. We've been with last week with someone out of New Mexico. So this thing is being used, and it's benefiting a lot of people. We use it, of course, during Cherokee holidays with cornstalk shoot and so forth, and we use it during the regular times. So just going to kind of pass this around and let you look at it. You might see a couple deer on here too. So.
Should be a prerequisite.
Councilman
Real
Shambo?
deer.
Or do they shoot traditional or recurves?
On the cornstalk, it's recurved, I think. Mike, I wish I knew more about it. I apologize that I don't, but I think that's what they shoot. And I hear we have some pretty good shooters with it as well. You know, I know it's fun to watch. You know, I wish I knew more about it.
For council members.
So,
Hey, Councilman Crickman?
Yes. These folks on the archery, what are they looking for as far as a place to set one up? Like they're gonna have Benita and stuff. What are they looking for as far as land or?
and we have the land.
And you're all for it?
We've taken them to both sites and showed them the land. Chief has visited with them, and with Brian and Secretary of State, and they've set up, land that they would allocate to do it.
You bet, and I hope that goes through. How would some of the other districts get in on that tour of our places?
I don't know. It's just, it would be a matter of money being available and so forth. It's just, it's being looked at. I'll just put it that way.
There's going to be a...
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Ron, while I was visiting with you, I just want to be clear, I'm going to remind them on the concurrent.
Right.
Deadline's this Friday at 5.
Right, that's correct.
And I was proud to serve on the work group there a few months ago about this. 6 hours, fees and books paid for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Juniors and seniors,
Missing back here, okay.
6 hours, books and fees. Any exceptions as far as the schools, or are we doing that?
This is on July 4th.
NSU where they choose to go?
No, it's, I know Brian's got some down there, and, we have Roger State, and we have McConnors, and we have Tulsa, Community College, and lots of, go ahead.
Right, I just wanted to be clear when I do my little reminder for this. 6 hours, fees and books paid for, juniors and seniors.
For juniors.
Right, fees and books, tuition, yeah.
And then private and proprietary schools, not all.
Okay. All right, now that's in what we have, so. Okay. So, all right, I just wanted to be clear. Thank you very much.
It's gonna be a paper application, so we can get that to Gail, so that you guys can post it if you need to. And we can also, they can contact our office, or we can get it out that way, the county superintendents have it also.
Okay, so any of these last minute folks, we can fax it to the school site maybe, or they can get it online, the app?
I don't know if we have time to get it online, but if they wanna call or email us, we've got an address, concurrent enrollment at Cherokee.org. They can just say they need an app, and we can turn around and reply right to them with the application.
Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, you bet.
Thank you.
Councilman Anglin?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Ron, I had a lady approach me at the ICOP powwow this weekend and asked me about her child. Are they not eligible to be like on the Youth Tribal Council and or the choir, youth choir?
They can be on one or the other.
That's what the question was. But they can't be on both? Is there a reason they can't be on both, or?
They conflict with making sure that you're a part of it. I mean, as far as doing your, due diligence to do your role. There's times whenever choir's going somewhere and the tribal council's meeting also, so they can do one and then they can come back later and possibly do the other.
Just can't do them at the same time? Was he ever able to do that before? Or?
Yes, yeah, they have. That's recent policy change. So.
Okay, I didn't know how to answer, so, because I was thinking they could be in multiple things. But.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ron, you would think you're holding back your leaders, the ones that can sing good and they want to be Miss Cherokee and all that, and I've got some of the same complaints from some of my constituents that serve on the youth choir. They're wanting to run for Little Miss Cherokee and everything, and they weren't able to do it because it's one or the other. So that's kind of. I know y'all ship and your policy. I understand your schedules that conflict sometimes when you need Miss Cherokee and the youth choir got to be at the same event, and I know that conflicts sometimes. So. But it's kind of a sensitive issue right now with some of the kids that are part of the youth choir. But anyways, Councilwoman Hatfield.
Is there ever a possibility that we could have at-large students on the Tribal Youth Council? This was asked by one of my constituents.
I wish I had every answer, but I don't. I would need to go back and kind of gather all people together and find out.
Councilwoman, what
was the question?
Would it ever be possible for an at-large student to be on the Tribal Youth Council?
Travel would be very difficult as often as they meet, but that's probably something they've looked into.
Right, yeah. And
that's a secretary question.
Well, I'm aware, the travel, that type of thing, but I just
We
need
got
to
the
answer.
request in administration, we're reviewing it to see what would work logistically, and then we're gonna visit with education about how we might be able to incorporate that, maybe even some Skyping or something. So, we have heard the request and
Okay, all right.
visit with education.
Thank you.
Councilman Dobbins.
Thank you, Chair. Jennifer or Ron, have you set the date, or will you be setting the date for the college fair?
Do October 23rd.
And that just happened.
It just happened,
Yeah.
October
Here and up
23rd
north?
in Tahlequah. And then the date for the northern, we're still working on getting that confirmed.
Will you say?
Who's the point person on the college fair?
It's gonna be Mary Dunlap, and we're developing our flyers right now. As soon as we get those published, we'll get those sent out to you. We can help with that.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Councilman Lake.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ron, this is a good question from Ms. Hatfield, at-large counselors. It's been my observation that sometimes each district does not have a tribal youth counselor. And I don't know how that came about or why it comes about, but if we're going to solve one, if the admin is going to solve one issue, we probably need to look at the total issue and have if we're modeling after this body, then there needs to be tribal youth folks from each district as well as that one.
Okay, that's something we can address as well. I mean, we'll
Yeah, take a look at that. I think at one point we did align it with districts, if I recall. And, of course, we can always work on outreach and things like that, which I know we do a good job of the schools. We'll visit them.
Thank you, Councilman.
Anything else?
Any other questions for education?
Good report, Ron.
So good report. Thank you, Jennifer. Hey, if you guys stick around after the meeting, I want to talk about the Ignite conference. All right, next on the agenda, Head Start, Miss Verna Thompson. You taking orders for apple pies and pumpkin pies right now?
Yeah, we will be soon. We'll be asking for a date. I brought some visitors with me today, and we are getting ready for our review, our federal audit, which is scheduled for September 10th through the 14th. And we look at it as an opportunity to validate ourselves for our wonderful staff that do a wonderful job every day with our children and families. So we look forward to that, but there's still some apprehension about some unknowns. But we're busy about every day trying to get prepared for it. One of the things that they're going to be looking at is the data collection. And we have Councilman Warner and Councilman Jordan on deck to answer any questions they may have about the, Councilman Jordan attends policy council meetings, but today I'll ask Sandra to share some data about the children's progress. And if you have any questions real quick, Sandra can explain the teaching strategies goal that kind of tells you, gives you a profile of the developmental gains that our children experience through the year that they were with us, actually 9 to 10 months. And then the other handout is the calendar for this school year. And the Thanksgiving dinner is not on there. We'll have to schedule it. Okay. The welcome mat is out. Sandra, you want to briefly tell them about the teaching strategies?
On the front page that you all have, is telling us that this is an assessment that the teachers use on a daily basis. And I just wanted to share with you that when you look at the first trimester on the social emotional, I'm just going to give you one example, that we have these 38 objectives. So under social emotional, on the first report, there were 440 children that maybe couldn't manage their feelings. From there, when you look at the third report, it was down to 47. The rest of them exceeded on how to manage their feelings. And a lot of this 47 down here could be the babies still yet, because they haven't managed that. So this is, you see high numbers where it says below, then you go and read in it where they exceeded, they get lower numbers. So this is what they use every day, and the teachers go in and whatever they observe with children, they put it into the website, and then this report comes out.
Can you imagine being assessed on your feelings and how well you self-regulate? That's what they'll be looking at, all of those scores and several other data type interviews.
What software is this? Is it My Teaching Strategy? Is that the name of the curriculum you guys are using?
Our curriculum is called Creative Curriculum, but this is the assessment that goes with the Creative Curriculum.
Okay.
This is good.
Yeah, good results.
Well, you got a measurement tool here that you're just
We have
not guessing.
college-bound students as well. Because I still say you all give scholarships at 6 weeks old. That's when we take them. So they're with us 3 years in early Head Start, then they graduate or age out into Head Start, and that's another 2 years. So they get a scholarship from Cherokee Nation at 6 weeks old.
Do y'all have any questions on this?
Any other questions?
This is good.
All right, good report. Good job.
Oh, okay, one of the other things Barbara's going to tell you, we're still recruiting staff.
We have some areas that are really difficult to get staff, and right now we're still looking for a clerk for our office in addition to maintenance tech. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I could just sing stand up, if that's okay. And then we need a Head Start lead teacher, which a bachelor's degree is the minimum requirement for the Salina area. And then an early Head Start teacher for the Salina area. In addition to a teacher for Wahila, which is really difficult to find staff up there also. And then we need a cook at Pryor, and that position has been empty for quite some time. We have some of these trouble areas of finding staff, and it's really difficult.
Janice, they don't cook at Pryor?
I'll go cook for them.
Okay.
But prior, we need a teacher and a cook, actually. So we just need help with that. And then one of the things, as far as data collection, we have what we call the program information report that goes in, and it talks about how many children got all of their screenings, how many children needed referrals, how many children were referred, and all of that type of stuff. And that report will be coming to you the next meeting, as it's not quite due yet. So by the end of the month, we'll have that completed, and we'll have that for your next meeting.
Bernie, I like your shirt. Where'd you get that at?
I can't remember.
Lost City.
Yeah, Lost City Boutique.
I say it's at Las Vegas.
Thank you.
Do you have a question?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes, Councilwoman Hatfield. Go ahead.
Is your, you need a teacher? Like, okay, do they have to have an early childhood degree?
The one Barbara mentioned for Salina does.
You have to have early
Yeah.
childhood?
And
Okay.
I want to say thank you and put a plug in for your money that you supplement the lead teacher's salary so that they can be paid state scale. Makes it a very attractive position. The other teachers we're still working on as far as their salaries. I wish they could be higher, but the lead teachers do make good salary.
So your lead teachers have
Have to have early childhood.
Have to have early childhood. That's fantastic.
It isn't it? We're really proud. And one other tidbit, in Head Start, the turnover rate is very low. Those folks come in and they homestead, and by the way, we're celebrating our 40th year of Head Start, and I've been involved with Head Start since day one.
Wow.
But they do not quit. We had 2 leave the program last year. Early Head Start is the younger workforce, and that's a different stat. But more often the positions that Barbara's talking about are early Head Start that work with infants and toddlers. And you might think that's an easy job. It isn't. It isn't. That is a definite calling. Any other questions?
I don't have a question, but just a comment. I want to commend you on this because this is very impressive. I mean, this is like, I don't know if other tribes are doing other Head Start programs, but this is impressive. I
They
mean,
are required to.
You are required to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the first I've seen, and I commend you.
Well, thank you. We're really proud of our teachers. If you can see, far right column tells you the ones that are doing really, really well. And we have had a student, and I might mention on the right column are the ones that have parents that help them and work with them at home beyond our classroom.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other questions? Berna, good job. Keep up good work. All right, at Sequoia High School, Superintendent Leroy Qualls.
Good afternoon. Well, this year's been a lot more uneventful. I don't know if you'll remember, but we had a water line burst at the dorms, a bus breakdown, and the bells were out of sync. So it was organized chaos, I think a year or two ago, whenever that was. But this year off to a smoother start. Brought our freshmen in to do the BIE testing last Monday, and then all the other kids joined them on Tuesday. We've been in school a full week now. One thing interesting that was not in my report that I wanted to mention, I had a BIA teleconference last week, and there's going to be a strategic plan that each school, each BIE school will be responsible for. And the things that they're emphasizing was one, college and career readiness. And as you know, we've had our college scholarship class now for years. And we feel like we prepare our kids to go on to the next level. That was one area. The other is social emotional health. We've heard that now. It's become more prevalent in the last year to hear that. Well, we're on our second year of doing that. We've actually got classes, social and emotional classes that we require all freshmen to attend, and they're attending those classes this semester. So they're already engaged and already in those, and we had an orientation for them during the summer where they had some team or classmate bonding, if you would, with some activities for class bonding. And the third area that was mentioned was school safety. And that's probably going to be on everyone's radar this year in the United States with every school, and should be. But I feel like those first two we've got a good jump start on, and we're doing some things right. I credit my principal with doing the social emotional health, getting those classes started, already started when I had the webinar last Thursday. Like I said, we began classes last Monday. Immersion started today. Makes things a little bit smoother at the end of the year when we don't have conflicting graduations and things like that. Our dorm count, when I turned this in, was 71. Today it's 95, which is up pretty good from last year. We finished with 59.
Yeah.
We have 55 girls and 40 boys. One interesting young lady that I'm going to try to meet in the next day or two is from Idaho. She's 14 years old, and the reason she's here is to run for Coach Horse Chief, cross-country program. There's been an outstanding program for many years at Sequoia, and she's very confident, and I like that. We have a 15-year-old from Florida. She's and can you imagine coming in as a young kid living in dorms at that age? They're probably not going to talk much. I know when I was in high school, and Speaker could vouch for this, I didn't talk a whole lot, until I kind of figured out what I was trying to do. Because there's always that fear of embarrassment, I guess. But anyway, we've got 94 freshmen in. Got some young kids in that I think are going to do a bang-up job for us, and I say that every year. We had an open house on the 31st. Immersion had one last week. This year, our dorm staff and cafeteria were fully staffed without any new hires coming in. That's the first time that's happened in quite some time. Softball, believe it or not, we're off to a 6-1 start. We lost to Westmore 2-1. Westmore, well, they're traditionally top 2 or 3 in 6A. And if you've ever watched them play slow pitch, they can hit the ball like a bunch of boys. Those kids can play. And they beat us 2-1. It was our second game of the year. And I'm really excited about our pitchers. We've got several good pitchers, and we've got just a real good balanced team this year. And this is a team that no one's talked about, but I think this is the team that may be a threat to win it. And we've been semifinals every year for the last X number of years, 9, I think. This might be the year. Anyway, and believe it or not, we go to Salisal Friday night for a football scrimmage. It's here. A lot of planning this summer. Our principal and our athletic director and myself worked very close together, and I really, they did a super job of getting things organized, or it wouldn't be this smooth starting off. Cross country starts Saturday. We've got ISEP transportation audit coming up September 20th. I got a calendar last week of these different audits that we have coming, and our people are usually pretty ready. We've got student count week. Will be in early October. One thing that I mentioned here, Larry Callison, we're very proud of what he's accomplished since he's been with us at Sequoia. And he was elected in the Coaches Hall of Fame. And that's very well deserved, because you can compare what he's had the last few years with anybody in any sport. Anyway, he was inducted in the Hall of Fame. We're very proud of him. Coach Hearn got to coach the boys All-State game in July.
Did they win?
No, they lost by about 20. It was either 18 or 22, and I don't remember which one.
Hey, you know who else got inducted in the Hall of Fame? And we didn't even mention it.
Who's that?
Ron Etheridge.
Mr. Etheridge.
Yeah.
Did he really?
I think official.
Yeah. He's out
He's
here.
pretty
not in
modest,
here?
yeah.
Well, you know, there's a lot of things to be grateful for. And I know I've known Ron a long time, and whatever it's for, I know it's well deserved.
Yeah, appreciate it.
On our count this year, we've got, as I mentioned, 375 students. We've got 313 of those that are Cherokee. And when you do the math, it comes out to 83.4%, which means we only have 62 non-Cherokee. Marcus Crittenden also received a national certification as an athletic administrator. And there's only 64 in Oklahoma out of the 540 school districts. So that's a pretty good thing. That's something he did on his own and went above and beyond to become certified. And I know at least one in this room that knew him, you know, before he started working. He wasn't the most athletic-minded person, and he gave it 100% every time, but he's become a really good athletic director and a real feather in our hat for our school. And I'd just like to say our teachers are excited about the pay raise. Thank you on their behalf. We'd like to stay up there with the state and everybody else. So the morale is good. They're very appreciative.
This is it.
And I thought I'd mention that before I concluded my report. I mentioned some of the athletic things. I'm also very excited, and you probably know, because I've talked about it many times before, about our academics and our ACT scores. Got that one kid back that had a 32 last year that's back with us this year. I'm excited to see if that score goes any higher. Can't go much higher, but
That's pretty high. Hey, Coach, we're running over a little bit to another council member's time. If you have some more things, go ahead and
I'll just
try
cut
to
it
conclude.
off. I've got 3 pages, but I finished the
Okay.
first page there. Just cut it off right there.
No.
Hey, Mr. Etheridge, you got inducted in the Hall of Fame too, didn't you? You got inducted in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
Now, was that in golf or?
Was it curling?
That's what I thought.
Officiating.
Okay.
I thought it was curling. Now, does anybody have any questions for Mr. Qualls? Saying none. Qualls, good report. Keep up the good work and good luck this year.
Thank you.
Old business none, new business none. Announcements. Next being September 10th. Hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So move. Second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.